This is a ZT2. We got something going on. Alright guys, we're jumping straight into things. Welcome back to Channel Anderson. Welcome to today's video. We got to get some base data from this thing, and to do that we need a Zeitronix kit thrown in. And first step of that, heading over to my buddy's shop right now so you can weld in an O2 bung for our AFR gauge. So let's go. Yo, I'm outside. Okay. All right, we're here, guys. This is a good introduction right here, man. You guys say what's up, this is Rotana, long-time homie. We're over at his shop right now and see what we can do with this thing. Hopefully all goes simply, fingers crossed. Okay, so there's like a spot to send the wiring loom in right there. So if we can get it anywhere around here, that'd be good. What do you think? Yeah. All right.
Do you think we can like take this off? And
we could probably, yeah, I didn't even realize that that was in one section. We can just take it off.
it's easier.
Yeah, make it easier. You got some WD-40 for those bolts up here? Alright guys, and not fun. Just discovered an oil leak. I saw this before, but it wasn't this bad. So I'm gonna need to get this taken care of. I tried to take this bolt out and then kind of like put some sealant in it and throw it back in there, but don't think it did much. So have to mess around with that later. Clean this up for now. Alright, can't for this. Alright guys, got these all loosened. Get these off 13s, and then I'm just waiting for Rotana for a 13 wrench on the other side to get them all the way off. Got these undone as well. I'm gonna slide this clamp off. We're just gonna take this section off right here like we said, so make it a little easier. Alright guys, got all three of those off. Just waiting, I gotta grab a wrench for the O2, get that off, unless Rotana just wants to hang it down. But I figure this is as good a time as any to show you guys the exhaust. These are Kleeman mid-lengths. And the rest of the exhaust is pretty nice except for this center section. I don't know what they had going on here, but it went from nice factory tubing to probably deleting the secondary cats. And they just, I don't know, they use some weird generic stuff, but it's alright. No resonator, and this is pretty beefy piping all the way back to the Sebring muffler. So, pretty much like, this is probably just under 3, and this might be 3 or 3.5 back to the muffler. So pretty nice flying setup. No restrictions, obviously, no primary cats, no cats anywhere, just the muffler in the back. Guys, I think that's a problem. What the fuck, are you serious? No way. Alright, well, we'll try to figure something out while I'm here. Maybe jack one of these tires up and try to spin this thing back on. I guarantee that probably happened when I was trying to play around with the height adjustments on this. And these Bilsteins just don't have a lot of play, and these things don't have a lot of play either. You can tell the rod size on them is not very big. So try to figure out something other they can fix it at home too. Alright guys, well, we got a mini stack of scenarios right now. Our O2 sensor is pretty much stripped. Might be able to get it back in there, but that's not good. Now what we got going over here, this was off of the C230. Actually, we just took the O2 bung off of that because no shop had one, which is weird, but oh well. There's a factory one. This one is not as stripped out. It still has threads compared to the O2 sensor itself, but I don't know how the heck that happened, because yeah, I'm pretty sure I had this one out recently. I don't think I ever took the other one out, but this one spun in and spun out just fine the last time I had it on and off. So this, I don't know, that might mean new O2 sensor. See if we can get this in there. All right, definitely think smarter, not harder, guys. I was like, oh, we need to depin this so I can slide in through the bottom, but O2 sensor will fit if we go through the top. So I needed to do this anyways. You guys can't see this right now, but I'm gonna plug it into the existing grommet. I just gotta get a knife real quick and slice an extra hole to be able to fit the O2 sensor through. So then we should be good. There's my TCU, courtesy of Josh. So be back in a sec. All right, guys, that's in there, hanging down. Should be good to go now for that part. All right, guys, got this thing back in. Big thanks to Ratana welding that up. Gonna need a new O2 sensor, so we got that thing kind of in for now, but it's definitely gonna be leaking. I'll have to order one up. I don't want to try to force it anymore, otherwise it's gonna create a whole other basket of problems. But this one's good. That's for our AFR, so I'll pull this wire up a little bit more up top, and we should be okay. And then obviously we got a list of things that I need to check on now, because I had no idea that this was obviously off, and our oil leak had gotten that bad. So yay, add to the list. It's all right though. So start this thing up, head out. Thanks, Ratana. Yeah. We man crafted it. Yep. And Ratana also gave me the smallest zip ties known to man. He gave me these baby zip ties, but they'll do the job. They got baby strength. So yeah, new O2 sensor on the way. All right, guys, so that I will leave for now, because we're gonna have to mess with it when I get home anyways, to figure out how to route that through there cleanly and safely. This we can go ahead and close up. Oi. And go plug the battery back on and fire this thing up. All right, guys, Ratana just said it. Great success, except for a few minor discoveries, but I was about to slam on me, dude. Yeah. Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Was I supposed to go through that?
Yeah.
All right, let's fire it up. Okay, little exhaust leak probably present, but should do the job. All right, guys, made it home in one piece. Again, huge thanks to my brother Ratana for helping me out with that. That's a big thing. I know it's a little thing, but big thing to help out like that, so I really appreciate it. Love you, man. We got some things to figure out, obviously. The wiring for the Zeitronix kit. I'll show you guys what I got. All right, looks like we're leaving off right where we just were, but it's actually the next day. Camera died right when I was recording that clip, but Zeitronix kit. Here is the actual wiring and the box we're going to be using. This is a ZT2. I believe they have a ZT, a ZT3. I got this used. This was off of a dude who had a Porsche, some type of 911 that he had spliced basically to his needs, but it still has everything we're gonna need. We're just gonna have to extend our harness most likely, but it's not a big deal.
I don't know if we're going to be using every single one of these wires. And then it also came with a few extras like a pressure sensor of some kind. It looks like maybe for vacuum. And then there's also an EGT or IAT sensor. And obviously a serial port, all that stuff to read info. And then I bought this from Zeitronix directly, the AFR gauge. So that's why we went over with Rotana and put that extra O2 sensor in. So
before I go any further right now, I gotta send a huge thank you as well to my buddy Brandon, aka you guys know him as C Dirty 2. Without his help of providing basically like what plugs and what pins to be using for the wiring on this, I mean, I would have figured out, but it would take me a lot longer. So I really appreciate you, man. If you guys don't know who he is, I'm surprised, honestly, because 203 people, Mercedes people, Benz people that are modifying cars. If you're on IG, Instagram, you've probably seen some of the things that he's done at some point. So yeah, without that, it would have been an entirely more difficult project. It's still going to be a bit tricky just figuring out how we're going to route everything, but we know exactly where everything is going to go, thankfully. So there's about 5 wires I need to tie in basically to our front SAM area ECU plugs. So let me get this up and go from there. But the one tricky thing that I'm trying to figure out right now, I'm probably gonna have to lift up the car again to take a look at, is that O2 sensor that is stripped out. It has a number on it for an upstream sensor. So I don't know if at some point that accidentally got them swapped around. And then the other part is I don't have, like, normally it's supposed to have plugs on each one, like to unplug and plug them in. You know, most Mercedes are going to have 2 yellow plugs and then 2 black plugs for the primary O2 sensors and the rear O2 sensors. But this car, it's like the back 2 are wired in. That's what some of this mess is here. Each one of these, I believe. And I don't want to stay like that. So I'm going to have to most likely go to a pick and pull at some point to basically snip both sides off to have the actual plugs, because that would be just a hassle if I have to keep, I'm not going to have to keep replacing O2 sensors obviously, but if I ever have to replace them, to have to hardwire them in every time or solder them in or join them in, however, every single time is just stupid. So I'm gonna go when I can over to pick and pull. Pretty much any car should have the right ones that I need, and that'll just make it simpler later on, because I'm honestly confused by that whole setup. I don't know why they would have needed to do that. I'll need to ask Josh, like, is there something to do with them doing the M113K swaps that they would have had to do that? But I just don't think so, because most M112s, M113s use the exact same O2 sensor setups. So we'll have to explore further. But that said, I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of figuring out what my game plan is here. There should be a spot inside of the cabin. I'm gonna have to take off our lower cover so I can access, but there should be a spot that I can route everything through. And what I'm thinking, I don't know, so I thought about trying to route this behind the dash right here, just so that I can have the Zeitronix actually sitting on that side. That way it's like I can mount it to the side of there, kind of hidden. And if I need to plug in the laptop, like everything is on that side, because obviously the laptop's gonna be sitting over there too while I'm logging stuff. I just feel like that would be easier, or maybe not easier, but in the long run, maybe easier. Otherwise, I can just set it right here. The AFR gauge is long enough to stretch over to the other side. The O2 sensor is long enough to stretch over to Zeitronix box, but I gotta figure out what my route of cleanliness and efficiency is gonna be as far as this goes. But these should come no matter if you order them new, or hopefully if you order one used like I did. I think I got this thing for like $100 off eBay, so couldn't really pass it up, and it seemed to have everything I needed. So if you buy one brand new though, you're gonna get wiring diagram of what everything is. And like I said, CJ2 hooked it up big time by kind of giving me everything I need as far as plugs and ECU pin connections and all that stuff. So
I will share that as we go and basically just dive into it. A lot of this is going to be probably me just figuring stuff out, so I'll try to include you guys in the interesting parts. Finding so far, got the battery unhooked and took off our lower panel down here, and it's actually quite a bit more room than I remembered. I haven't been down here for a little bit, but I was just down on the Mars Red CVT5 doing the pedals, and I don't remember this cavity being this wide open, so I'm guessing there probably was a panel on there or something that you can remove that is just removed on this thing when they were trying to figure out the wiring for the M113K swap. But yeah, for the most part, we got nice access, so that's good. The ECU is literally sitting right there in the SAM and all that, so should be no problem sliding our wires through here. I just got to figure out kind of how I want to route everything. I need to look through, pretty sure I have some brand new wiring somewhere. Otherwise, I have our big bucket of leftover Mercedes wiring from when I deleted about 40 pounds of wiring out of the silver CVT5. So I'm gonna look around for that real quick, grab what I need to make our splices and dices and thrices and this and that, and get back to it. All right, you guys, never fails. Wash your workbench here, but I got our 5 wires labeled up. Blue wire, we're gonna be tapping in to C310 for the map sensor, which we'll use for boost. Gray is our throttle position sensor, which is C321. Green is our RPM, C347. Black is our ground, C57, and then red is our power, C59. You guys go show Brandon some love for that C32, because like I said, I would have to go find that all out on my own without him having shared that. So that's it. Now we just got to basically associate each one of those with our plugs up here. And for those not familiar, your ECU is labeled, each plug is labeled, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can figure that out just by looking at them. And then the pins that I have, like the other numbers I was calling out, is the actual pin for each plug on here. So, or I mean each wire. So pull those out and take a look. They have little numbers on them. You gotta use a close eye, but that should be it. All these other ones that are not in use, some of them are for like Zeitronix specific, you know, boost sensor, or I don't know what else they have, simulated narrowband, purple, other stuff, sensor ground, etc. We don't need those, so we should be okay. I might need to do sensor ground actually, let me see. But yeah, for the most part, these are just, you know, other things you could be running or Zeitronix specific applications. But luckily we have a map sensor on the car, so that is going to be easy to tie in for boost, and the rest of it, you know, RPM, etc. And then this is going to use its own kind of separate controller, plug into a serial port on this side, and that also has the big cable that we attach to obviously the O2 plug. So that is what I got for now. I'll catch back up in a little bit. And I did find my wiring. Looks like I have some 20 gauge in all the colors I need, but some of this is a little too thin. So I have, like I said, about 40 pounds of wiring that I deleted out of the CVT5. This is basically my lifetime supply of go-to wiring, because it's good factory Mercedes wiring that was in good shape when I removed it. So I've used this, I don't even know how many times at this point, for all types of different projects, and it's always saved the day in some way. So we'll be pulling from this where we need, if I don't have the correct gauge, and that little spindle over there. So check in a second. All right guys, well, we have pretty much everything we need over here. It looks like all the wires that I just I'm gonna need to pull from are 20 gauge, so got all those, but I didn't have gray, so we went to the gift basket of the OEM wiring. I'll be using this gray for our gray TPS, right? Yeah, TPS. So we'll use that, and the rest of it we got as much as we need, and I just got to figure out where I'm gonna route this to. So most likely I'll probably just plug these fresh wires in to our ECU plugs and do one at a time and figure out where they're gonna go. I can leave them long and then just cut them to size, or maybe not. Actually, maybe I should attach this all before
make it easy. I don't know. We'll see. Let me game plan. Okay, and just real quick before I figure out all these splicing things, I wanted to show you guys this. For example, don't know if you'll be able to see that. Probably not with the GoPro, but these are numbered. So this is the C3 plug, and it's basically 1 through 10 on the top, 13 through 23, 27 through 39, 40 through 52. So I think this one we're going to use 47 and a few other ones. So that's where you kind of pay attention to what goes where. It's going to be a little tricky because this one is hard to see all the wires on this. So I don't know. I might have to do a little bit of spelunking to see which one goes where. But yeah, the other thing I got to show you guys, which is also credit to C32, is these are a new type of connector I've never tried, and he said it made this a lot easier, and I can see why. These are called Positap connections, and basically just like the picture shows, you unscrew the top portion, slide your wire through, connect your other wire to the back there, and then spin it all together, tighten it together, and basically have a no cutting, no splicing type of scenario that seems a lot easier to reverse if need be. So super cool little connectors that probably gonna make this a lot quicker. For the actual splices on lengthening these wires, I'll most likely use the heat shrink solder and some heat shrink on top of that. So yeah, cool product. Thank you again to Brandon. All right, you guys learn something new every day. I had no idea that you could take apart the plug. I should have assumed, but just never really looked. So little tabs on the side, and you can slide out both of these. Gray one is for the lower set of numbers, and black one for the higher set of numbers. And these are labeled as well, 40 and 52. So that makes things a lot easier trying to figure out the plugs on the C3, since there's so many, and can't lose this. So set this there, don't let me forget. All right, guys, I think I got a game plan. I'm not gonna throw the box over to the passenger side. Instead, I'm just gonna run, since it's just a serial port and the O2 sensor, I'm just gonna run those over to this. That way I don't have to make these wires so long. This is where one of the little CAN controller things sits, but it doesn't really need to sit stationary in there. They just have it sitting in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'll route our O2 sensor and our data port across here. It can sit kind of just tucked up here, and that way this will be easy. Just, you know, it'll be hidden out of the way and easily accessible for me just by dropping down this panel. And I'll leave enough slack on these wires that I won't need to like disconnect this thing every single time or anything like that. So I think this will be a nice, clean, easy way to do it, and hidden. So let's do that. All right, you guys, we are all lengthened up and labeled, so these are ready to go in. I'm gonna take a quick break and go on a walk with the fam before it's all the way dark, but I'll catch you guys in a second. All right, you guys, well, we are at the time where we're going to tap into our ECU wires, and I wanted to show you guys how these work because they're really cool, actually. Basically, this side will tap into the wire you want, spin it closed. This was the recommendation from listening to people online. Do that side first, have this side open, and then you basically slide your wire through after you take off the sheathing and plumb it into this side, and you're done. So I'm gonna tap into all the wires we need to, kind of one at a time, and then that way I can kind of spin the harness as I need to get the wires in here. So that will do the job, and yeah, we only got 5 to do. Let's take care of them, and then we can slide our harness through the car. All right, guys, one wire down. That is our ground wire, and to be honest, these things are awesome. I started off with the top wire, make it easier, because that side would spin if you do this side first. So you do the side that taps in first, then this side does not spin, just kind of crams it up against the connection. So yeah, that one's good. 4 more to go.
All right, you guys, don't be scared by the mess, but those are all tapped. All 5 of our wires right here. We'll obviously clean things up after we get things tidied up. But for now, I'm basically just gonna slide this through our hole down at the bottom there and kind of rig things up as a test. That's what this video is, kind of getting it all working. And we'll probably follow up with a part 2 so we can get the actual software installed and see what the data logging software looks like. So we're almost there. Let's go ahead and tuck this back, and I'll catch you guys inside the cabin in a bit. Oh, and one other important thing to mention, on Brandon's car it was different. His 21 wire for the TPS was yellow. I spoke with Josh just to double check what was his, because mine is like a light brown, and Josh said go by the pin number 21, not by, you know, the color of the wire, because it can vary depending on model, year, etc. So all right guys, cleaned up a bit, put a little sheathing on it, looped the extra down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and snake this through. Turn my light on real quick, get it off. All right, now we should be able to see up top right there. Don't know if you can, but light source right down there. I'm gonna try to snake this down there. All right, well, all said and done, not much different than before, thankfully, as far as cleanliness up top. And here the harness is sitting down here ready to connect up. So got a little slack in it, no worries, do fine. So now I get to sneak my 3 wires that I need underneath the console. All right, you guys, well, after a few bit of attempts with some stainless wire, I got all 3 lines ran underneath the console here. This is just right behind where the radio is, and they all are gonna reach over, no problem. So I'll probably leave these free hanging, to be honest. I don't see the point of like attaching them to the bottom plate. They'll stay out of the way of things, and should be okay. So I'm going to basically mock up our underplate and plug in our harness and plug in all these and go from there. Getting close. All right guys, everything is plugged in, and yeah, only this one is gonna basically just hang free, which it already was, to be honest, so it's not gonna be a big deal. And then just got to get my hood release plugged up, but yeah, should be fairly clean once we got it tucked up in here. All right guys, we are all tucked back in over here. Moving on to the other side quickly. All right guys, it is a mess over here, but that's okay. That's how we're gonna leave it for now, for the most part. Let me go ahead and at least just tuck this carpet back up. So these will kind of sit here. I'll most likely just let the serial port hang out in the cargo pocket. This extra loom for the O2 plug will most likely sit behind our TCM plate, and then our AFR gauge, eventually I would like to make maybe a mounting bracket or something to mount over here. Really cool option would be to try to put it into one of the center vents, since they're circular, and that would be awesome. But that would be whole probably dash removal to try to make that happen, or at least the whole front center console piece. So maybe eventually, but for now I just want to put power back to the car and see if we have power to our AFR, and that's kind of where we're going to leave it. Okay, let's put power to the battery. Yeah, clock does that. Ooh. Let's turn those off. Okay. Hey, look at that. Okay. We got something going on. That's good, at least. And our CD changer. I think that's what's in there. Thing's tripping out. Anyways, that is awesome.
that means we got majority of it working here. So I think that's gonna conclude things for now. All right, guys. Well, hey, for one video's worth of work, I feel like we did quite a bit in this one. Special thank you to the people that helped out, made this one possible, this video in particular. Ratana, Brandon, Josh, thank you guys. Got it at least there. So now we got to get dialed in. I got to get a CD-ROM driver or reader. I have it somewhere. I got to find it to plug it in my laptop so we can put that software on, and hopefully next episode I'll have new O2 sensors and everything else we need to get this thing properly dialed in with this data logging software. And we can get some baselines, send them over to Josh, let him look them over, and make our adjustments if we need to. But otherwise, the reason we're doing this, if you guys haven't figured out by now or haven't talked about it, is we're upgrading things. So we're gonna be changing out our pulley, changing out injectors, and trying to spice this thing up a little bit more, and overall just kind of get it to what would be in my mind its final stage power wise. I know that's a silly thing to say because it always changes, but I feel like I've gotten used to the car, and I think we're gonna be happy with the changes upcoming. So this is a necessary part of it regardless. I wanted to have data logging software on this car. I should have had a long time ago, to be honest. I avoided it for way too long, procrastinating, but hey, got it in now, and now just time to get it dialed in. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you all. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
3, 2, 1.